And hi, and thank Furlough, it's Friday, everybody. Nice to see you all again. Nice to see the numbers are still coming in. You've not got bored with us quite yet. And as ever, always pleased to invite in my sort of other half here, almost. Jacquie. Hi, Jacquie. How are you
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. Nice to speak to you all again.
Good. So just to let you know that the newsletter for this month has actually just gone online. So please don't go rushing off to read it now. It will be there when you're finished. But got quite a lot on there. And lots of templates and downloads from our legal advisors for you, including some guidance on reopening your offices if you're going back to work, having been locked down at home or furloughed or whatever it might be. So all in all, I think it's one of the busiest issues we've actually seen. And there's a comment on there from me, my lockdown term report. A bit of tongue-in-cheek stuff in that, but have a look what that's all about. I do mention the aforesaid Mrs. Mount here, Seagull lady. Anyway, so Jacquie, a lot going on.
Yeah.
And judging by a lot of the webinars that have been run this week by, sorry about that, accounting bodies, they seem to be a little bit behind us in their doing. And somebody the other was, they were saying, when is somebody going to help me deal with furlough?
I know.
You know, when can I claim payments? You know, and I thought, where have you been? So, and it's quite interesting. And one of the accountancy magazines has suggested they actually tune into us.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like it.
I mean, that's flattering. If else.
Yeah, I love it.
Jacquie, you've got some fun stuff for us today. You're going techno.
Yeah, I've got some screenshots to show you. First of all, just a couple of things, just a couple of sort of wrap-up points, really. I pick up quite a lot of stuff on the EU VAT, EU accounting law. I get emails on that. And this week, there was an interesting document that came out, which, regardless of our current situation in leaving out of Europe, we are still covered by all the European accountancy rules and everything else. And it's a confirmation that basically everything that the UK has done is all within EU accounting law. But the 80% furlough, I found out, was it's the maximum that any country in Europe can actually offer to pay for the wages. So that's, you know, ours is great. I know other countries aren't doing as much, but that's the maximum, and that's why it's been set at 80%. Confirmation that all these grants that are coming out are not de minimis state aid. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago, so that's now confirmed. They've got that up on the gov.uk website. And the other thing is that came out from the EU is that all of these grants have to be finished by the end of December this year. Now, I don't know whether that would be extended, but we now, through various paperwork that I've seen, looks as though we have an absolute end date of December, but I don't think, therefore, it's going to go past the October that the Chancellor announced this week. And then that will give them November and December to tidy up everything before the scheme closes down at the end of December. But that's purely that I've seen that these schemes must end by December 2020. So, yeah, there's a few bits and pieces coming out. As you're all aware, the self-employment grants went live on Wednesday, and we've had some quite good feedback on that. And I asked for some help on Tuesday for anyone who was doing claims on Wednesday morning, if they could let us know how it went. Thank you to all of you who contacted us, particularly John and Carol, who were the first ones in. The first one, I think my email came in about 8:15 on Wednesday morning, so thank you for that, John. And also, he's very kindly sent me some screenshots, obviously with all the particular information taken out, which I'm actually going to share with you this afternoon. So the sort of things that you will see if you are going through the process yourself, or if your clients are going through. And I've also had quite a few emails in following up from some emails, messages that came through on an earlier TV session that we did from Mike in Avon, querying the ethical nature of our members claiming the SACE grant. So I've got a little bit to go through on that. I've taken some advice and guidance from people at HMRC. So if you just give me a second, I'm going to see if I can do the clever thing of sharing my screen. Share my screen. Oh, there we are.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so the application process, as I said, went live on Wednesday morning. So you still have time to apply. You don't have to apply on the date you were given. If you went through the eligibility checker, then you will have been given a date, which is the earliest date that either you or your clients can apply. But you can do it from any time there on, and we don't have a closing date for this. And I'll come back to the closing dates in a while. I had an email in from HMRC. Some of you may have got the same email. If you're registered to get these emails from gov.uk, there was one that came out actually on the 14th, so yesterday. This came out yesterday, and it started off by saying what you can see on the screen. The claim scheme went live yesterday for eligible customers to begin to make their claims, and we are pleased to say that the first day of claims has proceeded smoothly, and we appreciate the invaluable support you provide to your clients in helping them to prepare to claim a grant under this scheme. Now, we have done quite a lot of work getting this across to everyone. We've updated our COVID hub on all the information, what you can and can't do. And the emails that I've got seem to reiterate that process. However, the next paragraph was interesting. Said, however, we've noticed that some agents are using their clients' government gateway credentials to make claims on their behalf. Please don't do this. It will trigger a fraud alert and will result in delays to receiving payment. Now, I said, I think when I was in on, I think Tuesday, that a number of the other accountancy bodies were a little bit concerned, to say the least, that these SAYS grants are not open to tax agents, and HMRC have been very firm in saying that the reason that they've made it for individuals to claim is A, to make it easier for them to set the system up and to get the claim in early, which they've opened the whole thing up 2 weeks earlier than they originally said. And also, without putting in the detailed security measures that they need to do to allow agents to log in, they are concerned that it might open up to hacking and fraud. Now, there have obviously been some agents, and I don't know if these agents are members of any other body or whether they're just private agents that are registered with HMRC and haven't been doing the research that they perhaps should have been doing. And they've thought, oh, well, we won't bother about that. We'll make it on their behalf. It actually triggers a fraud alert and will result in delays to receiving payment. And it says there, if you've already claimed on a client's behalf, their payment may be delayed and they will have to contact us to resolve this. So again, we need to reiterate that it is the individual that needs to do that. I have sent an email back to my tax agent support group that I sit on to say that the feedback that we have had, I know Gary's had some, I've had emails, to say that yes, it would be easier if the tax agents could make these claims, but you're quite happy to support your clients through on this. And we know from discussions, and yesterday I think the advisory council covered this. I think there was I have a feeling there was a question on the advisory council webinar yesterday, that generally you've done what we've asked you to do, and absolutely brilliant. And I've sent some feedback, and at least one other body agreed with what I said, so that's good. So again, thank you to John for giving me some of the screens. If you're going to make the claim either for yourself or if your client's making it, these are some of the screenshots. Obviously all personal details have been taken out of this, so not all of the screens are here. I might be a little bit, a tiny bit blurred, I think, for you, but basically you have to read the document before you start it, and you have to confirm that you traded in 1920. By the way, if you hadn't made your tax return for 1819, you wouldn't even have got this far, because your eligibility checker would have said you're not eligible to apply. You have to have traded in 1920. You intend to continue trading in the tax year 2021. Now, it doesn't say you are going to trade for the whole of the year, because it may very well be that some businesses are struggling and have gone out of business already or are about to go out of business because of this, so therefore won't be able to continue. And the third one is the one that's caused our members more concern than anything else. Your business has been adversely affected by coronavirus. And for some of you, you'll know that it has been. For others, it may not have been affected this month or last month because you've been so busy. Gary's talked with you a lot about how much, about charging and the extra hours and everything else. A little bit on the bottom about non-residents or choosing remittance basis if you're a non-resident for tax purposes, so I'm not going to go into that one today. I did speak to a couple of people at HMRC about members who perhaps haven't yet been affected, but they may be affected by this. And I've had a comment back that says, we expect claimants to only claim where they have a reasonable belief that they have been or will be impacted. Now that's interesting, because that comment is not actually in the guidance as yet. And I know some of you have said that you're concerned that you will be impacted in the future. So that's going to open it up for you. In some circumstances, this will be obvious. For example, the individual has been ill, shielding children, caring for dependents, etc., etc. And I just put on there, of course, some businesses have shut down due to the lockdown, whilst others have remained open, but with significantly reduced income. So it is very much a personal decision as to whether individuals are going to apply for this grant or not. The next screen one of the next screens that comes through is the information on what might happen if HMRC may withhold the claim or recover payment. If it's not made in accordance with the published guidance, contains or is based on inaccurate information, is paid in error, is fraudulent or abusive, or not made for the purpose described above. So obviously, HMRC will reclaim these grants if they really feel they've been claimed inappropriately. But again, we're not saying what's inappropriate, what's appropriate. At that stage, you will get the amount of the grant that you're going to have. HMRC will already have uploaded all the information that you need. In the early stages of the eligibility checker, some people were getting false reports, false results back, but that was because HMRC hadn't managed to upload all the information they needed into this system. But what's basically happened is that they've uploaded all of the amounts, net profit, they've done the calculations, and it will tell you at this stage what your grant is for the 3 months. This is the first 3 months, so the maximum here will be £7,500. A few people that I've spoken to who have spoken to their clients, they've already worked out roughly what their grant should be, and I think without exception for the people that have contacted me, yeah, they've been accurate, so the system is generally working quite well. But if you find that you're not happy with it, you can ask HMRC to review the grant. They do say if you don't agree, please accept the grant anyway and then argue about it afterwards. And then there's the final declaration, which is there. It says this is where you have to state that your business has been adversely affected by coronavirus within the guidance. It's a standard declaration that you would expect to make. And again, HMRC will check, and they're hoping to have payments out by the beginning of June. So they will check your applications, they'll make sure that everything's there. And again, there are some more notes at the end there, and these will be available for you to watch on the recording. So I will stop sharing my screen at some stage.
Yeah, I was talking to one of our team this morning, and they were saying their husband was just applied for it yesterday, I think. The form was extremely straightforward, very simple, all done and dusted. He was told how much he's going to get, everything. So very impressed. So I think that most people seem to be generally impressed with what the government's been doing. I think there one or two people might have slipped through the cracks, but I've just spent 2 very long days trying to rewrite 4 pages of rules for money laundering, for our money laundering regulations. Still haven't quite finished. So how they got through these reams and reams of rules and regs that they've come up with, I really don't know. But anyway, so that's good. It's nice to know things are working and people are not suffering as perhaps they might have done. I'm sure it's going to come as a lifeline to a lot of people. Of course, some people will find that the last 6 or 7 weeks has become a bit of a strain on them. So because of that, on Monday, we've got our wellness advisor, Simone Gilbert, coming on. She is coming on as part of Mental Awareness Week next week. So that's ICB's way of trying to get you retuned and redirected and refocused so that you recover from this lockdown. I think we were all enjoying it. Some of you now have started to already get fed up with it and are just champing at the bit to get back to work or at least get out a bit more. And for those of you who want to go out for work, it is actually National Walking Month at the moment. It's Walk This May, which is pretty clever, really, that the government has just lifted the stop a bit and just said, yes, you can get out there. You can now exercise more than once a day. And those of us who struggle to do it once a day, then, you know, we'll have to try even harder. But anyway, so don't forget that. Oh, and just going back to this week's, today's newsletter, actually, that's out at the moment, there are some rather candid photographs there of the ICB team and their various partners and all sorts of other things there, including, I think the funniest one, please have a look at Jane and Steve Hardwick. Jane took it, both good Yorkshire people, you know what they say, and Jane said this is the closest Steve gets to having a smile. So if you're listening, Steve, yeah. No, it's a nice picture. It's a very nice picture, but anyway, so great. What else have we got? Yes, today we've run our first endpoint assessment for payroll, where rather than one long proctored exam, the people are given 2 one-hour breaks in between. So it's 3 hours, so it's an hour, up to an hour break, another hour, up to an hour break, another hour. I have to admit it taxed the system a little bit because the system isn't really geared up for that. But anyway, we've managed to do it. So I believe we're the first to do this anywhere in the United Kingdom, which is great. We were the first people to get the okay to do any of our exams by remote proctoring. And PQ magazine has also come out today. I was noticing before, they've done a nice piece on us saying that we were the first of the professional bodies to do it. And most of the others are still bouncing around trying to get done. And a couple of them have promised to be up by the end of the summer. Well, as ever, we lead from the front. There we are. We've had a lot of people now doing the M8. And so I'm really proud of that. So thank you to the team for getting all that sorted, particularly Alison, who I think did most of the negotiation, and then Polly, who's been doing the running round, booking people in. So good to hear from that. I'm just going to cross off. I've got a long list of things here I'm supposed to be saying. Oh, and so
sorry, Garry, can I just interrupt there? The payroll is not our ICB payroll diploma. It is the ICB apprenticeship payroll.
The endpoint assessment.
The endpoint assessment for that, rather than our, just in case anyone's confused.
Yeah. No, the payroll though is still available, isn't it? As are all our.
Yeah, payroll runs as normal.
Yeah, and according to actually another article in the newsletter, that the numbers are going through the roof at the moment because everybody now wants to sit and do another exam. It seems to be the right time for so many people to try and just get that extra qualification that you haven't got so far. So self-assessment, tax, payroll, 2 big ones, really flying off the shelves there at the moment. Sober's just asked me to mention that ICB TV from yesterday is going up online shortly. We've done a lot of things recently, so we've got a lot going up. We couldn't quite fit into the slot, so that's going up. So any of you want to catch up and see what that was about? Because yesterday, of course, was Paula Vesey-Smith. I moved over and let Paula take over for the day, and she brought in, I think, about 7 members of council, and they had a chat, and lots of questions coming in about joining council, what council does, how it works with ICB, etc. So thank you to all of those. I thought that was really good, if nothing else, because it gave me a day off and a rest. Thank you very much. Yeah, that went down very well. That's great. So I think we're done on that one. ICB, PQ. Reopening guides, done that as well. Oh, and Inspire Tour. you're still buying into the Inspire tour, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got, I think we've gone well over the 1,000 people now that have done that. So that's beaten our records as far as attendance at the Inspire tour is concerned, which is fantastic. So those of you who want it, that's 3 days, 2 sessions per day. You can just download it whenever you're ready. Everything in there from anti-money laundering to systemizing your practice to growing your business and putting it on the right foot. A huge amount of information in there for you, all specific to bookkeepers, which is the big thing. So, Jackie, we seem to be getting quite a few questions.
We've got some questions coming in. There's deal with one from Peter on Facebook. Helped one client submit their stays claim as the internet was down and couldn't leave her home and she was shielding. So the claim was accepted at the end of the process. Okay, but that's fine because we're helping our clients. Just make sure about the logging in and the security aspect of that, which is fine, but well done. Thanks, Peter. Okay, a couple of questions coming in from Susan. Hi, Susan. Holiday pay, have the rules changed? Can you clarify? If an employer asks an employee to take 1 week's holiday in May after they've been furloughed since 23rd of March, I understand the employee must receive their full pay, but can the employer claim back 80% of their wages for the week they're on holiday too? Yes, they can. That's become clear over the last couple of weeks. So if your employee does want to take holiday, you can claim back the 80%, but you must pay them the full pay. So basically, they're taking a week's holiday and it's just costing you 20% of their salary. And also, if they take holiday during the furlough time, it means that you don't have to hold it over for the next 2 years, because we've spoken in the early days about carrying holiday over and the on cost to the business 2 years' time of people suddenly taking a lot more holiday than they would normally do. Can a furlough...
Data themselves yesterday, and they're all back again. We've got Susan Lang there, and now you've got Carol Gibson again. But anyway, great to see you.
Hi, Carol. Carol says, can a furlough director apply for a bounce back loan for the company, or is that classified as revenue? No, it's not revenue, it's a loan because it's got to be paid back over 6 years. So anyone can apply for a bounce back loan because that is there for the businesses who couldn't apply for the business interruption loans because they weren't paying business rates, or didn't have rates exemption. And that's aimed at other businesses. Whether it's available to a business that's based from home, I'm not sure, because the guidance says that it's for businesses who perhaps have premises in shared accommodation, so like small shopping malls or offices that they might rent somewhere else. So I'm not sure if there is a limit of perhaps you work from home, whether you could get it. If someone online has heard that, it's not something I've seen. But no, it's not revenue, it is a loan. One of my clients received a text from HMRC. I believe this was a spam. This is from Usha. Hi, Usha. I told them not to reply to that or use the code provided within the text. Be aware. Yes, there are quite a lot of scams going on at the moment, so do check it out. It's highly unlikely, I think, that you'll get anything by text. Certainly don't follow the links through, because you should be able to get everything through your Government Gateway login. That's why your clients need the Government Gateway login. So yeah, please make sure of that. On the government guidance for this, there is something about scams and the sort of scams that are going on. So yeah, thanks for that. Maggie, I have a furloughed employee, currently furloughed until the end of May, baby born yesterday, lovely, and wishes to take 2 weeks paternity leave. Please advise how this will impact on the furlough. It doesn't impact at all. It's the same as holiday pay. You pay them the 2 weeks statutory paternity pay, but you can take their pay up to the 80% furlough and claim the section which is over and above paternity pay, because the membership user, the family friendly payments, I think they call it, like maternity, paternity pay, you are recovering anyway through your payroll, so you just claim above. But yeah, you can do that.
So Maggie, you need to know name of employee and name of baby, please, or even a picture. Put a picture for us next week.
Jackie, not me, another Jackie, that we are there, you know, super women we are, all of us are super women. Jackie, what is the situation where you are an agent from someone living in your house, and although they claim the grant completely by themselves, they use your computer to do this? That's absolutely fine. It's as long as they are doing the claim under their own government gateway, absolutely fine. I mean, we do live with people who are self-employed, and therefore, yeah, they can do it. Same computer, share computer. Yeah, as long as it comes in from them, that's not a problem, Jackie. Sorry, Ian. Okay, Ian says, off the current topic, I've registered as a tax agent with HMRC, received the authorization code for my first client, all good, until I try to log in to put this author up. Now, the HMRC site is trying to create a new account for me. Right. There are two stages to this. You have to apply for an online agent's account first, then you apply for the tax agent, and that's when you add you migrate your clients across. Now, I did write a fairly detailed article on this some time ago. I'm not quite sure how you find it in the news. It's a newsletter in the news articles on the website, probably in the tax section, on exactly how to do the application for the new tax agent. It's got all the screenshots. It sounds to me as though you may well have applied for an authorization code at the wrong stage in the process. But if you've got problems next with that, Ian, send us in an email to member services and I'll deal with that next week. Julia Williams, I have a payroll to process for hairdressers that earn commission. Should I pay them what they were paid in February or what they were paid in May, or the average of the previous 12 months? Right. When you have variable pay, providing that the commission is contractual, in which case it's part of the furlough, you have the choice. Each month you take the higher of the previous month, so May 19, or the average, and it's now on a rolling 12-month basis. So you can include last May in there, and you can pay them the higher of that on a rolling 12-month basis, if that helps.
Suzanne says, yeah, it's only the English that can have one walk a day. The rest are several. I thought, actually, we could walk twice a day here, but I haven't noticed anybody downstairs wishing to shout at me when I go onto the street. So perhaps they just think I don't go out often enough, so they'll let me be. Oh, yes. Has the group for legal...
Really sorry for that north of the border. But...
Yeah. Clara, has the group for legal client accounts been organised, as I haven't received an email yet? You've been a bit inundated, Jackie?
Yeah, I've been really inundated. I will be in touch. I did say it would take a couple of weeks. I do have all of the people who contacted me last week. I've got on my list, and I will be in touch. And now that I'm free of various things I've been doing this week with software companies, I will have some time to get on to that next week. So I will start that process on Monday. So yeah, sorry about that, Clara. I did say it might take 2 weeks. Usha, on holidays, can the employer insist on an employee that is furloughed take it as previous carried forward holiday? I think it's something you've got to agree with, because if they're owed the holiday, they haven't yet taken it, and it's been carried forward from earlier this year, I think the normal holiday rules apply. Not quite sure, Ushu, what you mean by that. Might not be reading that properly.
I've got a couple that have come in via Facebook. One from Sylvia Borhill. Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Sylvia.
Jackie, do you have anything to say about part-time furloughing?
Oh, quite a lot. Can I pick them up? I'll pick them up in a moment, Sylvia.
And Maria Birkmeyer, my husband put his claim through yesterday, and all his own details, and all was good. She's done a smiley face and a kiss. So
And I'm sure someone's going to accuse me of being very sexist, but yes, even husbands can claim for these grants. And I apologise. I should not have said that, but it is Friday afternoon.
Moriarty says, one client submit their scheme as her internet was down and could not leave home as she was shielding. The claim was accepted. At the end of the process, I also received a stock email advising that PAYE agents must not claim for their clients. We await the outcome. So perhaps not quite as positive as some of you have been saying.
Faye, hi Faye. Forgot to use my self-assessment login and used PAYE login. Straight away, HMRC recognised me as an agent and would not proceed with the claim. Went back in with the self-assessment login and straight away to see that you have to accept the conditions of the claim. As I know, I will see an effect on income, but not now. I decided not to accept. We can claim at any stage for this, I think, but I don't know when the end date is to claim. It may well be that that's going to be open for some time and you can claim retrospectively if you really feel that you're being affected. But yes, that's interesting that the agent login for Faye used her own agent login, I have to say, not for a client, that is, then it did recognise it straight away. And she says, I'm now doing second claims for May as I can do them 14 days. Oh yes, sorry, this is presumably CJRS claims. May claims as of today, you can claim for the CJRS claims up to 14 days in advance. So if you're running payroll at the end of the month, you've got your claim from the 1st to the, say, 31st of May, you can claim 14 days before, so that hopefully you've actually got your claim in by the time you have to pay your wages. So yeah, that's fine.
And Philippa says, with well-being in mind, just put guidelines together for my local sailing club to allow our members to get out on the water whilst complying with the updated guidance. A voluntary role I do outside my bookkeeping business. Well done, Philippa. Enjoy yourself. I know that talking to our Bath and Avon chair, Mike Johnson, he's been really upset. He's got this gorgeous boat in the harbour, yacht, I think I'm supposed to call it, in the harbour, and it's been sitting there bobbling away, but he's unfortunately couldn't get anywhere near it. So I'm presuming he's going to be out on the water very soon. So enjoy yourself, Mike, if you are. Yeah,
and the weather's improving again. Our north wind stopped, so we can actually stand upright again in this part of Kent instead of being blown over.
Okay, just to let you know that for those of you who are still looking to calculate furlough payments, etc., our friends at Free Agent have put on a free calculator as part of their normal product. So I think some of the other bodies are perhaps, some of the other software companies are asking you to buy apps and do various things. Not all of them, but Free Agent have now come up and said that they've got a free one there. So all the Free Agent customers, please look that one up. A lot of new products coming out at the moment, actually. I think people are taking this as an opportunity to sit and think up with some wonderful ideas and come up with some new stuff. So good for that. Yeah, even our own FD, Julius, he is a bit, he's an accountant, you know, so he's a bit dyed in the wool. But he took a demonstration yesterday from Revolut, the challenger bank that came on here. And, he had a whale of a time. Links into his Xero and various other things. So I think we might soon be getting a note to say that we've got one of these new Revolut credit cards that he's so keen to have. So we'll wait and see how that goes.
I did see on one of the Facebook pages about one of the other banks as well that I think you've spoken to, Garry, that how quickly they've been helping and in the crisis. So that's great.
Yeah, we've got somebody coming up. I think it's next week. Everybody seems to be getting overrun with Zoom meetings at the moment, and trying to get somebody on when they've got back-to-back Zoom meetings difficult. But yeah, we've got actually that's something to do with, they're tied in with Free Agent and NatWest and Starling Bank. They're all baying to get on, actually. I mean, you bookkeepers are potentially big customers for them, and the work that you do is right up their street. You want easy stuff, you want clever, careful, sexy looking stuff, and they're all trying very hard. So we'll get them on as soon as we can. We're, as I say, vying at the moment. We've also got some people coming on to talk about how to send emails, which I know you think, look, I send emails all day long, I get emails. But I remember in Inverness last year at the Inspire tour, Kevin again from Free Agent, not wanting to plug Free Agent too much, but Kevin was talking about make sure that the first line of your email says it all, because if you start off your email, hi, how are you and the kids, that will come up as the line that you see on your emails, and it doesn't really make you want to open it. I'll worry about that one later. But if you put on there special offer, or you can now say 50% or whatever it might be, always remember that first line is important. I hadn't forgotten that, and that was good. But so we've got some people coming on to talk about that next week. I think that'll probably be Wednesday. But if any of you do have any ideas of stuff that you'd like to be covered, that you are dying to know about, or you need help with, just send an email to customer services at bookkeepers.org.uk, because we can just pull people on if we need to. And if you've got something that you really, really want us to do, very happy to do it. Jackie, how are we doing on that?
Sarah's come on and, oh yes, that's a confirmation of something I said at the start. HMRC guidance states that the SEISS is a state aid granted under temporary EC framework, and claims must be made by the 31st of December 2020. So yeah, that was what came out this week. Okay, probably time, Gary, to look at Sylvia's comment about flexible furloughing.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Watch this space, really, because the details of this are going to come out at the end of May. So we're going to have to wait a couple of weeks. They've announced this as a way back out of lockdown. But of course, the details take quite a long time. And having spent a lot of time talking with HMRC this week, the people sitting in the back office are really, really working the hours to get all this done. And I actually think HMRC should be highly congratulated, people in the back office, for the work that they've done, and how quickly, A, how quickly they've got this out, B, how well it's worked. Yes, there are a few glitches, but I have to say most of the glitches, I believe, are because people haven't done their preparation work properly. And C, if you read the guidance, how easy reading it is, up against a lot of, I've gone on for years about trying to put a search into HMRC to gov.uk and get some understandable information is almost impossible. I have to say, whoever they've got writing the guidance for this can really put stuff down in a clear manner. So congratulations to HMRC. But the flexibility, basically what you're doing is you're into part-time furlough claims. Now, it's up to the business to decide how they're going to bring their employees back, and whether they're going to bring them all back part-time or some back part-times and furlough some of them. I think is going to be an individual decision by the business. Now, basically, we did part-time furlough claims in March. When we started this, most of the questions that we had were, how do we calculate the part-time furlough? Now, one of the things that HMRC have confirmed this week through the various webinars I've been on and talking to the HMRC rep there, is that the way that the software companies are calculating through their free calculators, or their calculators on their software, how they are working it out is sometimes slightly different to how the HMRC calculator works it out. Now, the software companies are probably taking an annual salary and dividing it into 12 equal installments, and that's what they're working the calculation out on. HMRC have done a slightly different thing. They've looked at the maximum that you can claim, which is £2,500 a month, and they've worked it out on a daily rate. So therefore, if you've got May, 31 days, the daily rate is 1/31th of that. But if you've got June, it's only 1/30th. And let's just be grateful February wasn't included. So therefore, if you use the HMRC calculator, you could get a slightly different result. I think I said way back in day one when the calculator came out that I put in a monthly salary of £3,500 to see what it came back with, and it came back with more than 2,500. But that's because I put the dates in for when I was running the payroll, and it worked it out on so many dates at a daily rate. So we looked at furloughing for part of a month. And when you've got people working part-time, you've got to look at the number of hours they're working, and you're going to pay them the full rate for that. And then you work out the balance of their pay, which is furloughed. Now, we don't yet know what the figure's going to be. It may very well be that the 2,500 limit will stay or will come down. But of course, don't forget, there are still going to be businesses that are 100% furloughed in the leisure, entertainment, theatres, maybe some restaurants. So the 100% furlough is still there for some people. So what you need to do, I think it's going to, I would imagine it's going to be, is that you look at their monthly pay, you pay them for the hours that they're working, and then you furlough them for 80% of the balance of their pay, i.e. when they're not working. Now, we're used to doing that because we did it in March. So again, it's a question of keeping records, and your clients are going to have to keep detailed records of who works and when and how many hours they work. And if you're actually calculating the payroll, you're going to have to put it in as worked hours, furloughed hours, holiday pay, maternity pay, whatever you're doing, you need to keep some very detailed records. Having said that, once you've worked out those, you put them through your payroll, you do your RTI as normal, you know then what you're going to claim back. So at the moment, it's still at 80%. The bit that we're waiting to hear about is the little comment that the Chancellor tucked in about companies will start to contribute towards the funding. Now that, there's been a lot of speculation. It might be that in August or September, the Chancellor will say, well, you're still going to get 80% furlough money because that's what he's promised. But the government are actually only going to chip in 60%. You've got to put the other 20% in. We don't know until the end of May, but I think once we know, we've got some time because it won't start till the 1st of August. So we've got some time to actually sit down and work that out when we know what the guidance is. And that will give businesses the ability to plan to bring their workforce back.
But that's guesswork.
It's pure guesswork at the moment, pure guesswork. But I know that if you're bringing back staff part-time, it's going to have some slightly more complex calculations. We know that the furlough is going to remain at 80%. What we don't know is how much the government's actually going to pay and whether they're going to expect companies to contribute towards it.
So it could be one of those man-woman things then. The man says something and you take him literally, where actually he didn't quite mean to say that. But anyway, we'll see how that goes.
We've had this conversation before, Miss Carter.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting back on you for the derogatory comments about men earlier.
To be honest, I think as soon as the guidance is out at the end of May or earlier, if I happen to get it earlier, I can start to get ready to give you some information. I'm not going to be able to announce it until it goes out, but at least it might mean that if I get it a day or so earlier, which I do sometimes do, I can actually start to prepare and work out how it's going to work and answers, so that the minute it goes out, I hopefully should have some answers for you.
But as long as you check to make sure you can put it out before you do, Jackie, because I wouldn't want you falling out with anybody again.
No, I'll try not to fall out with anybody again. I think I've done my share of falling out with people in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, oh well. Now, one of the big things that we all do every Thursday is, many of us anyway, we go out and clap for the NHS and all the frontline workers and all the rest of it. And I've been saying for a long time that you are all frontline workers, really, and we think you're essential. Obviously, so do your clients. But so when I'm out on a Thursday night, I always think of you, and I've mentioned this in the newsletter today. But one thing I will say is that we need a celebration. So what we're going to do, we're going to go even bigger on the Global Bookkeeping Week this year. So that runs from Monday the 16th to Friday the 20th of November. And that means on Wednesday, the 18th of November, and who knows what it's going to be like by then, but I'm hoping that we're through the worst of this, we haven't been hit by a bounce back or anything. That's Raise a Cup Day. And that day, worldwide, is going to be Raise a Cup to bookkeepers. It always has been. We've been doing this for years now. We have tens, even hundreds of thousands of people getting involved right the way around the world in our various offices and other bookkeepers who are non-ICB as well. So put that date in your diary. That's Wednesday, the 18th of November, because we're going to go big on it this year because you deserve it. Sorry, it's only a cup, but we thought asking you to raise a glass of any other sort was going to get some sort of criticism, so we made it coffee. And I know some of you raised a cup of tea or whatever you've got with you at the time, but it's going to be a great day, really, to celebrate what fantastic people you all are, what a fantastic job you've been doing, and managing to remain very, very positive, which is really, really good. And I know we do have one or two members that have really struggled a bit, not so much with the business, but tends to be with the kids or wife or husband that suddenly you have to spend 24 hours a day with, whatever it might be. But, you've done an absolutely fantastic job. And I'm hoping very shortly we shall have the Small Business Minister coming on, who's going to talk to us. And, he's been very full of praise for what it is that we're doing as bookkeepers and how we're helping small businesses out. So when he manages to get a minute to breathe, he has said he will come on and say hello. So hopefully that's before we're all back in our offices. I'd like to see him sort of, over the next week to 10 days, I hope it's going to be. So that would be good. What else have we got? Oh yeah, just to mention again, because I know people don't, I've just had a note on my Zoom, on my emails just to say they missed it, but don't forget Monday I'll be here, but I'm going to be introducing Simone Gilbert, who is going to take over and talk to you about mental health awareness week and what you need to do. She is our resident wellness advisor. Yeah, we do have one, and she's going to come on and talk to you about the things that you need to do, help you calm down. I can hear some of you saying, "That's all very well, but that's 6 weeks." I'm ready to go now. So yeah, let's see what she has to offer, what she has to say, and we hopefully that'll be something a little different. Jackie, anything else you've got?
A couple of questions come in. Maggie, payroll with contractual commission. Oh, actually, I just remember there is something I need to say. Maggie, payroll with contractual commission have used the average method. This is interesting, have used the average method for last month's claims. However, as the commission is an office commission and not all staff are furloughed for May, commission is being paid to both furloughed and unfurloughed employees. What can be claimed for the furloughed staff? Please help. I've been thinking about that one while Garry was talking. This is an interesting scenario when your staff are coming back to work, because the staff that are working will be working on this month's figures, commission, whatever, and they will be paid. Your furloughed staff are still under the furloughed calculation, and therefore the standard averaging or whatever would apply. Now, it suddenly occurred to me that this might be a case when, because you're on average commission for last year, your furloughed staff might actually be being paid more than your staff that have gone back to work because they're building the business and there may not be that much commission. That's an interesting scenario, but I think it's a possibility, Maggie, that, yeah, your furloughed staff could be on more. I'd be interested in a follow-up for that, just as a general follow-up, obviously,
Yeah.
How that one goes. Ian's come back. Oh, this was the activation code, I think. Hi, Jackie, it must have been a glitch. I'm in, and first that client is now authorised. We like it. I think at the moment we do have to be a little bit patient with gov.uk because there are an awful lot of people logging in and they've had more contact than ever before. So yeah, if at first you don't succeed,
Yeah.
Lisa, we have received several pay code notices this week relating to employees who missed the new start date and have been furloughed by previous employers. The code seems to suggest that HMRC is presuming a second job. Should these be actioned as normal until corrected? Well, that's an interesting one because the rules do state that you cannot, once you've been notified by HMRC of a tax code, you have to continue with that tax code. You can't change it. Unless I think what you might need to do there is the employee might need to contact HMRC directly and report an incorrect tax code, and they can do that themselves. Obviously, when everything's sorted out and the P45s go back in, that will correct itself the next time they're down to a single employee. One thing I picked up this morning on, and I'd be interested in one of the Facebook pages actually that I look at, but you know, I see, is that a number of our members have been getting, or clients have been getting letters. Can't think what it was about. There seemed to have been a rash of letters coming out that people weren't expecting. I can't remember what it was about now. Brain's gone. If anybody has been putting a post up on one of the Facebook pages today or yesterday about some unexpected letters, I'd be interested to know about it so that we can look into it, because I think it might be one, when I looked at it, I thought it might be one we need to follow up. So if anyone wants to come through to either me or member services on that particular scenario that's cropped up, brain's gone, I can't remember what it was about now, but it was something I've never seen before, and at least 5 people responded.
And we just, I have to say a big thank you to Garry, Jacquie, Amy, and all the team. ICB have been a huge support. Well, thank you, Usher. And actually, the big thank you is to you. We're only here because you all tune in and listen. You know, yes, we know we like the sound of our own voices, but it's nice to know you like them as well a bit. So we're all here. We're having fun. You know, you're doing all the hard work out there. And if we can give you a bit of light relief, give you some information, help and guidance, it's what we're here for. So absolutely loving it and loving speaking to so many of you, albeit most of it you can't see, but you know, that's...
No, I know, but we've got a huge number of people on today. I was looking at the numbers, Garry, and I'm astounded. So either you've decided, you know, you've got nothing else to do, better on a Friday afternoon than to come and listen to Garry and I, but it's lovely to have you on.
Well, the record watching was over 7,100, I think it was. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing, you know. But yeah, so it fluctuates depending on how much trouble there is out there. I think that they come to us, come to our port in a storm. Let's put it that way. So that's good. So the fact that some days we have a bit of a quiet day with only 300 or 400 of you, fantastic. 300 or 400, brilliant. Anyway, but it might mean that you're busy getting on with things and quite in line.
Sorry, if in doubt, go back to Facebook. Yes, my query was to do with HMRC late payment notices that are set at 0. There seemed to be a flood of letters going out from HMRC to say you have a late payment notice, it's set to 0, and some of our members have had quite a lot. So if you want me to look into that with HMRC, let me know and I'll take that up on your behalf.
Right, and while you're thinking about that one, if any of you have got some really fantastic stories about businesses have changed, they're doing things differently, you're helping them with that, they're getting through the problems, they're coming out at the other end of this full of enthusiasm and determination to continue, we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a note to customer services and we'll get somebody to give you a call back and perhaps do a telephone interview, get some pictures of you and something, because, you know, we've got such a lot of wonderful stories coming in at the moment. I mean, obviously, on the opposite side of that, if you find that, you know, you've had to help some of your clients close down, I mean, it's no fun to read about it, but, you know, it's reality. So if you've got something you want us to report, we will do. We'll have another newsletter coming out in a week. And, you know, people like real life stories. And there's a lot of real life out there at the moment. So please let us know. Onward Weekly News Roundup would be great if you're happy to continue. Karen? Well, we are happy to continue. As long as we can keep up with stuff and there's still news coming in. I think actually even when COVID is done and furloughing is done, something else is going to crop up. There's always going to be something going on. And, you know, this is the new medium. We might take some advice from you all as to timing, though, because if you're slowly getting your children back to school, I presume 3 o'clock is not going to be a good time for you because you'll be going to pick them up from school, particularly if you've got young ones. So, I don't know, let us know. Do you want to go to a morning slot or a 2 o'clock slot or whatever? I mean, we're pretty flexible. And so, you know, let us know what you think. Again, customer services, they'll hate me for this because they get enough emails as it is, but just send an email through and they'll forward it on and we'll have about as and we'll listen, because I know you can listen to the recording later, but if you want to ask questions, you've got a burning question, and you don't quite get on before about 3:20 when you have to go and pick the toddlers up, then it can be really frustrating. So yeah, just give us any ideas. Don't come up with too early in the morning or too late at night, but apart from that, it's great. We're here to serve. Jackie,
yes,
how are we doing?
Scanner Williams has come back. I have had a late payment notice from one of my clients, despite the fact that there's a credit on the accounts from the previous year. How do I sort this with HMRC? I think for now, let me write to my contact. I'll email him, although I have to say he's not been emailing me back this week. So I will find somebody to chase that up with, I think, in the first instance, and then we might, you'll probably need to contact HMRC yourself. But I will send an email, Susanna. I'll do that hopefully this afternoon.
Yes, that's what I meant afterwards. Tar. Oh, that's nice. Tar. That's a good old northern thank you there. Or at least it was. I'm a Shropshire lad, so it was always tar. And when I was a kid, until I went to my senior school and I got that knocked out of me. But never mind. Never been the same since.
That's any word. There's one from Nicola on CPD points, Garry.
Oh, Nicola Payne, yeah. CPD points for the Inspire Tour were pending but seem to have disappeared. Is there an update on what's happening to them? No, I hadn't realised anything was wrong. I'll send a text out while we're talking and see if we can find out. No idea on that one. Actually, if Sobi's there, Sobi, have you got any idea?
I think Amy's sorting it out at the moment.
Ah, Amy Copeland.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, well, I'll drop her a note just to see. Yeah, don't worry, you're not going to lose them. Did you enjoy the test? What did anybody say? A lot of people were saying that they'd done the test, but didn't tell me whether they loved them or hated them, but they did the test. So let me know if you've got anything while I quickly send a WhatsApp to Amy. Oh, there she is. Right. Right. What else have we got to talk about? Jackie, anything or nothing? We're just coming up to
there's
4
one question from Faye. If we have to phone the employers' helpline, will we get through to speak to someone? You will do, but I'm not sure when or how long it's going to take, because I've been taking feedback that callbacks are taking quite a long time. And I think at the moment, yeah, certainly try them. If you go in on the tax agent line, if you're a tax agent, I think you get through faster than if you go in on the standard helpline. But yeah, I think you're just going to keep trying at the moment, Faye.
The spreadsheet test was mean. I was too busy listening to look at his tie and music taste. Karen. Ah, yes, that's right. That's Peter. I still haven't found out how many times he changed it, but I think he was just showing off. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah. I'm not sure you should get CPT points for counting ties, but I suppose at least it shows you were listening and watching. Never mind. So, great. I rang HMRC at 8:30 and got through to a very helpful person as relocating funds paid 22nd of April that had been put to 2020 to 2021. But they are still chasing for 42 pence underpaid. Kirsty St. John. Look, Kirsty, come on, 42 pence multiplied by every single taxpayer. I mean, that's worth a lot of money. I mean, you can't go stingy here. So anyway.
I also think the moral of that story is to ring them either early in the morning or late at night, because I don't know what time they carry on to in the evenings, but I know when I've had to ring the helpline in years past, when I've always tried to do it after standard office hours, because those of us that work from home or have access at home, I think you might stand a better chance of doing it in the late afternoon or even early evening. I know it's a pain doing it at that time, but if it means you get through, it might be better.
Yeah, right. What do you think now, Jackie? I mean, somebody like Kirsty miscalculating by 42p. Do you think we should be worried, or what do you think?
You know.
No. They get very blasé once they've got their qualifications and they get on council.
We love Kirsty so much. The trouble is, with any large organisation like this, where everything is automated, even 42p, they will not write off, you know.
Come back very quickly. customer underpaid. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've got about 25.
Yeah, 20 exclamation marks, as you should do. Well done, Kirsty. It is a pain, because if they underpay, they are, you know, people are going to be chased. And unfortunately, as I said, it could be 42p or it could be £42,000. The system will see an outstanding amount and will chase for the money. And, you know, it's probably just as easy to get them go on and pay. I think what they've probably done is they've rounded it to the nearest pound below and set the pounds and forgotten about the pence. Yeah, it's paid. It's paid.
Yeah, I think forms are weird, aren't they? I remember years ago when I started at my first business, and I had a form to fill in when I was registering for VAT, and hadn't started any turnover, but I thought I want to be VAT registered because I wanted to look good on my invoices. And they said, "What do you anticipate your turnover to be?" So I put, "Oh, £1 million." Well, the first quarter came, I was late with my bill, so I got a demand for £250,000 worth of business, because they presumed for a quarter I'd be doing £250,000. And we had a rather hair-raising month or so trying to explain that we actually hadn't done that amount of turnover, and no, I couldn't pay it first and then claim it back because I hadn't got any money. But yeah, they do like their forms, don't they?
You obviously didn't have an ICB bookkeeper in those days, Gary.
It's the whole reason we started ICB right 24 years ago. You know, we couldn't get a decent bookkeeper to save our life, you know. Yeah, glad to see there are a lot of them about at the moment, which is good. Just to go back on the CPD for the Inspire tour, because we used a different platform to do the questioning on, we're doing it manually, so we're uploading that at the moment. So wonderful.
Just a nice thing to end on.
Right, Jane Hardwick, actually, our Head of Investigations and Intelligence, our officer. Hi, Jane. Not known for getting praise from members because of the nature of the job, she says. Just received a great email from a member, so I'm going to read this. This is from Elaine. However, this has confirmed my thoughts that ICB is where I prefer to be. I haven't read this before. I would gladly start to move my information onto your website for AML. You will just have to bear with me a little, as all my information is held in my office, and like most people, I'm working from home. I will also be changing my invoices, which quote my AAT license number, and I'm currently advising my local parish council on which qualification their staff should study. I shall now be recommending ICB wholeheartedly. If there is anything else I need to do, please let me know. Well, thank you, Jane, and thank you, Elaine. It's nice to know that we're doing something right. I always say about our money laundering team, they're actually a lovely bunch of people, and they're there to help first. You know, it's only if you don't take advice that anybody's going to get into trouble, and they're so keen to work with you to get you to do things. And actually, Jane spends a lot of her time just trawling through the database and picking up all those silly little things you forgot to mention, like you're no longer a one-person self-employed bookkeeper. You've become a limited company. You've got 5 staff. You know, you forget to mention little things like that, and it's her job to chase up. But yeah, you know, we try to give the carrot. The stick only comes when you totally ignore us or you look the other way too often. And we have got a few members that do that, unfortunately. But thankfully, most of you are not. But as I said, I think said before, Dave Warner was saying that the biggest excuse he gets is, I haven't had time to do this. And unfortunately, we have to make time because it's a legal requirement. But I'll tell you what, if you get your due diligence and everything right, it is really surprising what you can pick up from your clients. And I've just been reading on one of the other webinars that we've got here at the moment, one member saying that she has just had a brand new client and she's done the due diligence on the client, and it bore no resemblance at all to the company that she visited and the person she met. So she's so pleased that she's done her job properly, because that person's obviously a crook. And one of the other things that we're getting a lot of at the moment on the Facebooks and various other things is clients are asking you to aid and abet them in fraud by saying, well, can you just put this bigger claim through for me? Can we have the... And thankfully, our members are getting really quite affronted. How dare you ask me? I'm an ICB bookkeeper. Absolutely dead right. Don't get caught in that trap. I know times are hard for some of these businesses, and they do need money to keep them afloat. But, you know, the government is giving some stuff out there, but we've got to be honest. We've got to claim what we're entitled to, not a penny more and not 42 pence less. That's, you know, that's what it's about. So well done you for standing your ground. And don't forget, if somebody asks you to do that, you turn down the business, you still have a duty to report that person, which you can do on, you know, just by talking to our compliance department, because somebody else might actually look the other way and do it for them. And, you know, we need to stamp out this. I mean, we are going to be, as a country, as a world, so short of money when we come out of this. The last thing we want is people getting fraudulent money, because somebody's going to have to pay it back somewhere along the line. I dread to think what we're going to do about it, but Rushy's done well so far. Let's hope he comes up with a really good idea for paying it back. And we're not all taxed to the hilt, but never mind. It was interesting. The other day I was watching a black and white program on pop stars in the 70s. And I mean, I was around in the 70s, I can't remember it, but apparently Rod Stewart left the UK because he was paying 98% tax. Can you imagine?
On the top section of their salary, yeah, they were in those days.
Yeah, but you earn £100,000, they give you two back. I don't like that, those odds.
It was only on the top section. It's still staggered. I mean, our highest rate of income tax in England is 45%. It's 46 if you happen to live north of the border. But it's only on income over 150,000. So I don't mind paying tax on income over that amount.
No, of course you don't. But what was it when Rod Stewart was having his problems? What did they get on?
I don't know what the upper threshold was. As you say, it's a while ago, but certainly over a certain amount, it was 98%. So, and it really wasn't worth. It almost wasn't worth working that hard to earn that amount of. I know Rod Stewart gets a lot of money for what he does.
Rod, if you're listening, we're not having a dig.
No, but there were a lot of pop stars that were earning huge money back in the 60s and 70s, and were all leaving because of that. It was a mass exodus, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I'm not asking you because I think you're older than me, Jacquie, because we're about the same age, so don't worry about that.
I am older now. I'm quite happy to admit I'm older than you, Garry.
as tax is your thing and bookkeeping, I just was merely calling upon your better knowledge than mine. He says, digging himself quickly out of the hole, you know.
You can tell it's Friday afternoon and it's now gone 4 o'clock, and we always get very light-hearted after 4 o'clock on a Friday on these. So
we do, and I think actually, Jacquie, I think we're done.
I've got no more questions.
Yeah, because we've had a fair old week. I know you've been busy. You've done a couple of you've done a Sage webinar. You've done one with Accountex. So you've been doing what? This is second or third with us. I can't remember quite, but you've done a few.
This week,
Yeah. You know, you'll have to start charging royalties on the image. I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
I have to say there are other software companies who are doing webinars. It's just that I've not been invited on them. So.
Yeah, and next week we've got another one from Intuit. We haven't got much coming from Xero at the moment, but I think you know, they're getting a fair bit of coverage on some new stuff that they've done, and I gave you a link to say that our FD uses them for different things and everything else. So
I know Intuit have been putting an awful lot of publicity out the last few weeks. Yeah,
they seem to be coming. Actually, we've got a lot of people booked in for it already now. 5 years ago, you know, they couldn't attract anybody. So there's been a big turnaround there, which I think is interesting. We've got to keep an eye on that one. And, you know, that's all down, obviously, to Sylvia Borhill, who is a chief trainer. I'm sure that's what to whom they owe everything, but never mind. So thanks, Jacquie. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Don't forget, Monday, we're going to talk about mental illness and health and well-being and looking after yourselves and everything else, and keeping the show on the road. And I hope you have a lovely weekend. It does look as if it's going to be sunny. Don't go mad. Get some exercise, but be very careful while you're out there. As I say, we value our audience on every single one of you. So thank you very much indeed. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody. Bye, Jacquie.
Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.